I've had several people ask about doing this class. I've had a lot of people after I think I had a sale photo um, class that went out on my account, not the EPN one. And a lot of people said, hey, we need movement ones for the stock horse photography. We just to learn a little bit more about how the stock horse moves. So that's why I went ahead and made this, especially after I saw Sharon um, do the one for the performance horses, the dressage mostly, I think is what she covered. So there's a lot of things that are the same with Western horses versus the dressage horses. So we're going to go a little bit over what uh, we would see in the Western horse. So the Western horse breeds, or stock horse breeds, I should say, they don't just do Western events. They do quite a few other type of events. Um, and some of them are, with English tack. But a majority of the events, are Western saddle, and they do have the Western um, implements to them. There are some different timing issues with the shutter timing and when you hit that shutter that are a little bit different. Um, and then there are also a little bit more of where the leg placement is, the head, just a lot of different things. So basically, I'm going to kind of teach you the proper movement. So this is also kind of a little bit of horse judging too. I'm going to try. I used to be a horse judging coach for many, many years, almost 20. So I'm going to try not to be too judgy in the way I'm teaching. Um, so Western Pleasure is the main course we're going to cover. Um, I know it's a lot different and people don't understand the discipline. They say their canter or lope, I should say, is 4 beat when it should supposed to be 3 beat. And if you really watch it, it is 3 beat. Um, and when you start shooting it, because you have to watch those beats, you really understand that yes, it is 3 beats. Yes, they put their head down low, but that's how they're bred. They're more of a calm, relaxed horse. Um, and a lot of them, they're not forced to put their head down. That's just how they're bred to do. Um, that being said, there's a couple Adobe stock images, maybe one actually. Um, and then a lot of these images are my clients, friends, and even family members. So when you're on the Facebook page and you see, you're giving feedback on others' images or mine on the Facebook group, please be careful with disrespectful comments. Um, I want you to learn what the standard is and teach you the correct frame for your timing. I don't want this to become a bash location because I will knock you off of that Facebook page really fast. Give you your refund, whatever. But don't do that to say, oh, I'm going to get this class for free. I'm going to bash one so I can get a refund. So please don't take that in context though. So let's go on a little bit. So uh, like I said, it's not just Western. The most common, boy, did I get a Western Pleasure in an English saddle. They're messed up. So Western Pleasure, a hunter under saddle is probably really the only one of the only English classes I'll talk about a little bit. The other one is English equitation, hunt seat equitation, and horsemanship. And then there's a lot of ranch riding classes, ranch trail, and different things like that. And there's a few other things, and we'll touch base on them. But the main thing is going to be Western Pleasure, because I think that is the basis for everything, the movement and everything. So some of the stock horse breeds are quarter horses, AQHA, the paint horses, the Appaloosas, And then we have a whole lot of color breeds, the buckskins and the roans. And then there's a few other, Pinto, I would say Pinto, they do have some stock horse type classes, but they also have a lot of other classes along that on that line. They have the saddle seat and everything, which Appaloosa has a saddle seat too. But those are the main horses that we're going to talk about. Also, color bleed is Palominos too. So, go on. So, some of the other classes, and we talk a little about most of these: reining, cutting, working cow horse, trail, Western riding, roping events, and barrel racing. I'm going to talk about a few of these, not all of them, mainly because barrel racing and roping events are kind of rodeo to me. And I think that's something that I think it could be a whole nother class on its own. And it's not my expertise for that too. So, but yeah, those are the classes, the showing type classes. I really don't go over the working cow horse much either. So like I said, Western Pleasure. The best place to learn proper movement is getting the rule book. You can get them online, or Google Western Pleasure AQHA rule or paint rule or anything, and look at the rule books and what they say about proper movement, because it really describes it very, very well. You can kind of picture it in your mind, and you can read it, your picturing in your mind, but really getting out there and going to a class maybe and watching it is a lot more helpful. Like I said, the Western Pleasure is the fundamentals for the rest of this class, or in other classes. So I'm just going to read this. In Western Pleasure, the horse should move at a relaxed and natural gait, typically a slow jog or lope. So if you're used to English, a jog is a slow trot, not extended or anything like that. A lope is basically a canter. It is slower than the Western Pleasure thing. And then when we start talking about the stock horses in English classes, we'll go back to trot and canter. Okay, let me get back on track here. The horse should appear calm and comfortable with a level top line and consistent rhythm. The horse should also maintain a proper head carriage with the head level, with the head held level and in relaxed position, and the pole as the highest point. The rider should sit in a balanced and relaxed position with their hands held low and level with the horse's withers. And what I'm saying is it's not going to be, with the, obviously it can't be level with the horse's withers. It needs to be, it's usually just a few inches above, or if not, maybe an inch above. Overall, the horse and rider should present a picture of smooth, effortless movement and harmony. Okay, so then we have the lope. So we talked about a 3-beat. So what that means is kind of 3 legs are making a different movement as they go. So, the trot is 2, the walk is 4. So there's always like one leg that's not moving kind of in the harmony of the other, I guess how we would say. So the headset is relaxed and not behind the vertical. This one is pretty vertical. We don't want, like, here's the pole and here's like the mouth. So we kind of make this imaginary line through there. If the nose was out a little bit, that would be fine. You don't want it way out, because they're kind of resisting the bit a little bit. Then you don't want it tucked in, because then it shows they're kind of scared of the bit. We don't want that. So this one's fine. We kind of want it a little bit in front, but that's fine. The headset or head carriage is level and relaxed. This one's a little bit low, but really they're not gonna condemn it for or take it down unless it was super, super low and held it very, very low for a long time. It may have been up a little bit, one stride less, but as long as it kind of pretty much does a consistent level and not going up and down constantly, and it's already going way too low. So, but yeah, this one could be a little bit higher. So, but it is a little bit more forgiving now. Rider's hands should be low and soft. Heels down. And then the horse's legs equal distance when viewed for profile. If you're a little bit in front or a little bit in back, we're probably not going to see this equal distance. And what I mean about the equal distance is the hind feet distance should be equal to like the front feet distance apart. And some even want to go right here too. You want a large spread right here with the hind legs. And then you want the leading hock well up underneath the body, the foot, the hock. But as long, see how this would be if the horse was standing normally, the hock would come right here. We can see it's going well up under the body. So it's driving, it's giving a good drive and impulsion from the hindquarters. It's not giving all the drive and propulsion from the front. It's getting it from the front back. Front leg, lead leg is what I like to watch this leg for my timing. Some people watch the shoulder, some people watch this leg. It's what you're going to pick up and what you're going to feel, find what works best. Some people watch this leg. I find watching this leg and actually almost really watching the foot, especially when they're a dark horse, you can lose, that point. I do keep my focal point somewhere in the biggest part of it. And f-stop really, really depends. If it's a wide body horse, I might go, a little 0.45. But, or I can go to 3.5. I don't want it too low because for what I do, a lot of times they want as much in focus as possible. And the background doesn't really matter. They're going to take it out and put it in ad. Actually, I think they kind of blurred out the background a little bit more, which I would have wanted. The arena was wet, so we had to kind of use the other side of the arena kind of was holding water. So, you kind of get what you get. So anyway, and also this leg right here, you want this knee as flat as possible because they're driving up underneath. Remember we talked about that hock right here going well up underneath the body. So when they're doing that, they're getting a lot more drive and impulsion. So this doesn't have to work as hard. Oops, sorry. That doesn't have to work as hard. It's bringing that front end up and that leg can just swing out. They don't have to lift their knee up to get that flat knee look. I know a lot of the other breeds want a lot more, movement in the front legs and everything, a lot of expressions. But with these stock horse breeds, you don't want the horse to have a high knee, is what they call it. So, so that would be what we want is this flat, almost swinging out leg instead of raising up that knee. I always find this is my go-to for going, okay, is this a good picture or a bad picture? The front leg on the ground, usually far away because we're trying to get that lead. There are some instances that I shoot with the lead on the other side, and I'll show you those later. But I want that as much straight up and down. Usually when that is straight up and down, I know my timing is going to be good. That's when that is probably the most furthest apart. The knee is going to be the flattest. I have a tendency to get this a little bit further back, and we start to lose this hock up underneath. So the jog, 2 beats, headset, carriage, much like the lope. We have a 2-beat diagonal footfall with equal distance, same kind of as the lope. So when 1 and 1, that's the diagonal, is hitting the ground, 2 and 2, same like that. And you kind of can see we actually kind of have an upside down W a little bit. They don't really connect, but if you pretended like they would connect, and you have this upside down W. We have the same distance, and that's pretty important. A lot of times when I'm shooting, I catch myself getting this leg just a little bent, even though this is on the ground, but we want this on the ground at the same time. I like to watch this leg, the front leg, closest to me, watching for my footfall. Occasionally, I will watch the hind leg. If I notice I'm getting that where it's not hitting just right, I will start watching this. And when it comes up underneath is when I'm going to snap that photo. Getting it that way, sometimes we're starting to get a little bit more forward or backwards movement with this leg. And that's okay as long as you're still getting kind of this basic shape. But I do like a good, clean, straight leg in the hind too. Not the bend to the hock there, especially when this one is hitting the ground. And sometimes you just can't get it. All right, so we're going to go over the description again. So the Western horse should be relaxed in a natural gait, typically a slow jog or lope. The horse should appear calm and comfortable with a level top line. Almost, when I say level too, we also want to see almost a little bit of roundness to it, because that means they're good and collected and everything. This shot too is from a little bit behind. Earlier I was kind of straight on, and that actually is a very popular angle for the lope. Getting a little bit behind, because sometimes they want that big spread right there between those hind legs, and it shows a little bit more. The horse should maintain a proper head carriage and his head held level in a relaxed position consistently, by the way, and the poll at its highest point. All right. Still, this one is a little lower, but it has competed well and has done well. So I know they allow it to a point. The rider should sit in a balanced, relaxed position with their hands held low and level with the horse's withers. So overall, the horse and rider should present a picture of smoothest, effortless movement and harmony. I mean, she's got a loose rein on there. This horse probably, a lot of times, what they will do to slow it down a little bit, you're going to really see this, and some of them do it too much, but they actually will take that outside leg and push on the rib cage a little bit, and what they call can it. And then the his hips kind of come out a little bit, not much, and it just kind of exaggerates this spreadness of the leg and everything. Usually you don't see it during a photo shoot, but you're going to see it a lot at shows. So here's some other angles that I like to do with Western Pleasure. Like I said, the ones from the back seem to be the more popular. Sorry if I'm kind of crooked on some of these. Are all unedited pictures that I just kind of grabbed from the photo shoot. So, the horses does look a little bit behind in this photo. So we may not have used that one, but it is that kind of that behind angle. There's behind angle from the other side. It never fails that some horses lope better going one direction than the other. And then this is a little bit more straight on. And remember, I talked about that. Usually for the Western Pleasure class, we don't do this angle, but it's popular for a horsemanship class. And then we can do a little bit more coming at us on the quarters angle or whatever, but not, I mean, that's a little bit more than 3/4. That's kind of like a 7/8 maybe, but the 3/4 angle, sometimes we can have it, but it's not super pretty with the low. A lot better going away than coming forward. And you can even go up a little bit more further and snap, and it still looks good, because a lot, especially ones that don't really put their leg out too far. Like this one doesn't put its front leg out too far, but when you're from this angle. But when we go a little bit from the back, you can see the leg looks like it's a little bit further out. It's really not, what am I trying to say? It's really not changed its stride any. We've changed our angle so we get a different perspective. Okay, so hunter under saddle. I'm gonna read this, kind of the same thing. In hunter under saddle, the horse should move with a smooth ground covering stride. The horse should exhibit a balanced and cadenced movement. Cadence means even, consistent movement. Each stride being the same length. So, with a level top line and a consistent rhythm. The horse's head should be held in a natural position with the poll at the highest point and jaw relaxed. The horse should have a relaxed yet attentive expression. The rider should sit in a balanced position with quiet and supple use of their aids. Aids being their hands, feet, legs, and well, their hands go to the bit, so there. The rider's hands should be held in a steady and neutral position with light contact on the horse's mouth. The horse and rider should present a picture of elegance and athleticism. All right, so you can see we already have a bigger stride than what we have for the jog. The trot is a bigger stride. When we talk about light contact on the horse's mouth, we should have a line almost directly. There's not the drape in the mouth or drape in the reins. There's a line in the reins. And we still have contact, but it's light contact. Okay. There we go. So, the trot. Starting with the trot, as it is a more important gait in this class. The canter was more important in Western pleasure, but the trot, I think, is more important here. So headset and carriage is much like Western pleasure, but carried a little higher and more in front of the vertical. So you can see this horse is a little bit more in front of the vertical. So that vertical line would come here. All right. Excuse me. 2-beat diagonal football with equal distance. I was talking about when this one may not hit the same time as that one, and that's that kind of instance here. Excuse me for a second. All right. So I might have been just a little early on this, but not much. So, I mean, this one and this one are hidden, and it could have just been the ground. It could have been just my timing. There's a lot of different reasons. All right. So rider's hand should have flat contact. I like to watch this front leg again. I know a lot of people like to watch the shoulder. I know some people who, and I don't know how they do it, watch the rider because they do, post the diagonal. I don't see it enough because that's where a lot of people are focusing on, and it's hard to focus, on here and watch this. And it just takes some practice a little bit. And this is what I watch, and I find it's really, and I do kind of, I'm watching this, but I'm still watching what's going on everywhere else. This is my main focus, but you're still watching something because of all of a sudden, if you're going through doing a shoot and they're making a line across and you're focused on that leg and they're schooling all of a sudden, you just kind of wasted your shots there because you don't want the schooling shots, unless you're doing a schooling photo shoot for educational purposes or something. So, all right. So, hunter under saddle, the canter as well, the headset's relaxed, not behind the vertical. Head carriage is level and relaxed. Rider's hands should be low and soft, and reins should have contact. Horse's legs equal distance again when viewed from profile. Hind legs should have a large spread and the leading hock well under the body. More ground covering and faster than the lope. Not a whole lot faster though, really. Front leg, lead leg is what I like to watch for my timing on this one. Leg, same thing, flat leg, and then this leg should be straight up and down. I promise you, if you watch this leg for your canter and your lope shots, if it's like this, a lot of the times you're going to have the correct shot. So if you want to watch that one, go ahead. But if you're watching that, if you're watching this one, just remember this one's going to come in the way and take away your focus. Not so much your camera focus, but your focus, concentration on that leg. If that leg is coming in front of it a little bit, even though this one is leading, there still is a little bit of coming in front of it. And y'all do know what leads are. I'm assuming you know what leads are, where a horse leads with a leg. If not, please shoot me a message on Facebook and I'll write something up. I won't put your name that you want it to know or anything. So, all right. So let's talk about some examples. So we're going to do a little comparison and some good, some bad, both good, both bad. Some of them have a few mistakes. Some of them are just better not do that type thing. So the first one on the left is no. Remember what I said about this leg right here? It is a little behind. We have no distance here. We have too much distance here. Just a lot of things going wrong. The hock's not up underneath the body yet. You can see that it just hit. Maybe I hit it a little late because I really don't want the dirt right there. If I know I hit dirt, if the front leg hit the dirt, I'm a little late. So that's one way to tell. This one is still okay. I mean, sometimes you got to go. It is what it is. Not all horses are 100 lopers. Some horses need a little bit going, and this might have been the warm-up period. But she is a little behind the vertical here. And that's just how some horses will run. We don't have quite much spread right here. Like I said, sometimes horses just need to get busy. And I know there are some photos, and I remember the shoot that, yeah, there's some beautiful photos of the horse. And I think we were just kind of warming up a little bit yet. So, all right. So, yeah, you can see I was really crooked in that one. So once again, this one's good. We have the leg here. We have some good spread here. The horse's head is a little high. So but here it's good. On the other one, it's kind of decent. It might be a little tad low. This is a younger horse. You can tell by the bozo. And we have a great spread there. This leg, you could tell, is up right how I like it. We have a good digging in deep with that. Whoop, there we go. I am so bad about hitting that fetlock. We have that leg out straight. Here, we're just a little late. So you can see when I'm a little late, we lose that. We lose that good spread. It is still a good spread, and it's not, I may still show this one to the client, not to. Because if there's plenty of good ones, I would, but I do like, I love the expression, and the expression's okay here, but the expression's better because the horse was probably looking up at I probably have somebody at the other end with a pom-pom. And if they stood up, the horse's head's going to come up a little bit. But yeah, we kind of have a little combination of them here. All right. So the first one, I was way late. So we already have this leg coming back. All right. And this leg starting to pick up to go forward a little bit. We do have, equal distance, just be a nice horse, and, nice horses should, throughout the gait, should have equal distance, no matter how your timing is. Okay. Here's one of those where I said I might have been just a little bit late. And then sometimes, that's just how the horse is going to move at this gait here. So we do have the same distance, maybe a little wider back here, but that's because I was a little, I should say early, not late, a little early. If I was just a tad early, this leg, the body would be moving a little bit more forward and this would come down. It's not correct though. So a lot of times what I do in this instance, when the horse moves just a little bit off like that, that's when I'm going to start to watch this hind leg move forward. And it could, later on, I'm sure this horse moved just perfect. Like I said, a lot of these are warm-up shots because I'm trying to get some different, timing and everything. All right. This one right here, a little late. You can look at that line. We lose that. We fairly, the horse's head is a little bit higher. You don't see that too often. It's a little bit higher. This one here, the head is good. We have our timing good. We have our timing good. The leg just isn't going straight out and everything. Like I said, it is what it is. Not all horses are world champions, or not even world champions. I should say top 10 or just how they are. And then some of them, this one also is a younger one. You can see the Bosel. They just haven't built that strength up yet in their top line to bring that hind leg up underneath them. It will come in time. So, and in fact, I think we did come back and bite a month later and reshoot this one at the lobe. It jogged great, and you'll see that later. All right, so here's several of the Hunter Under Saddle ones. So, way too early. All right, we don't have that W. Okay, way too early again. A little bit early, a little bit early. There we go. We got it right in the center. All right, so that one's actually a really nice picture. I really, really like that one. If you look at the rider looks better in this one. The horse has so much better expression. And we have a beautiful stride here. Look at how those almost come up to each other. And that's what they want to see. They want to see this big thing. And I'll tell you something right now, when you're doing English, an English horse, and they're not trotting very big, have them canter and do some cantering. For some reason, they come back and they trot bigger. I don't know the reasoning for that. I'm not a horse trainer, but it just how it is. They always seem to trot back bigger on those. When a horse has 4 white legs like this too, that knee movement, when that knee gets higher like that, it really, really shows a lot more. So, and it is, what I really like doing is I love shooting a horse that has 1 white leg and the other one dark, because it's so easy to track, but that's another story. So, but you kind of can see a little bit. She could have a little bit more contact. Here she has a little bit more contact, but the horse's head is a great level and carriage right here. So that one would be good, and she might be going, oh, I should have had more contact. It also might be a horse that you don't need any contact with too. So okay. So this could be wash and pleasure, it could be horsemanship. With what she's wearing, I would say horsemanship. So horsemanship usually has something tucked in, not vest, not fringe. It's just a more solid piece and everything, but we're going to talk about it in, well, I guess we could do it both. So you can really see the horse in the first photo. It is behind the vertical. I totally missed the footfalls. I was a little late. As you can see, the the legs are starting to come apart here from not come apart, but like maybe change. This one's starting to come forward a little bit now, after it's been back. And this one is already, you know, at the last stage of that one stride. Here, the next one, beautiful expression on the horse. Yeah, we already talked about the headset being, you know, that's where you want to see it. Horsemanship, they do allow a little bit more, you know, not a whole lot, but they do allow a little bit more contact and everything. But you know, we have good width right here. They will do in horsemanship too. They also will do a extended trot or extend the jog, so it's a little bit bigger jog in horsemanship too. And then they have to sit it too. There's no posting, obviously. All right, here we go again. Some more. I'm a little late here. You can always tell by that little bend in that knee because it's coming, and this one's coming back already. Same thing with this one. Horse almost looks like it's going forward, but it's level. I would say that would be a young horse, but the horse is like 19 years old. So, and we got it a little bit more correct here. So it's all on me. When I get the wrong timing, you know, that's why the horse looks more level right here. It doesn't look like it's going downhill there. A lot of it is because the horse is in that part of the gait. So it's not forward movement, it's backwards movement. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some examples. I'm going to post a few. Some of them have flaws. None of them are perfect. And then the following slides, that should be plural, will say what's correct or incorrect. So pause. Once we get to this pause, make all your notes. We're going to go through the top 3 first, and then the bottom 3. So pause the video, make a few notes. I'm not going to nitpick the horse. There might be 10, 20 different things wrong or 10, 20 things good. I'm going to pick up the major things that we see. You might pick up some stuff that I'm not going to talk about. Doesn't mean I don't see it. I'm just going to pick up the main things that I'm like, no, I don't want that. So here's the slide. Go ahead and pause it, and I will go to the next one, and we'll talk about these top 3, and then we'll talk about the top 6 in the following slide after that, and then you can see how you did compared. So if you haven't already paused, go ahead and pause. All right, I hope you paused long enough. So here is what we're going to talk about the next ones. All right, so the first image, I really, really like it. Remember, this is the horse that I was talking about that was not there in the lope yet. So we came back and did some more lope photos, but a beautiful jog. Horse is very symmetrical in the foot placement. Looks relaxed and good headset and headset and head carriage. The eye is closed. That's an easy fix. I can find another eye at the same angle and Photoshop that in. That's whole nother class, but that's an easy fix. So that one definitely would be a keeper. All right. The second one, yes, I did it a little bit early. I didn't catch it at the 2-beat stride. The horse could have had a better expression as well. I am a little bit more angled than I was in the first one, a little bit in front. So when I'm on the ground, when I'm shooting, let me go back over that in a second. Let's go through this, and then I will tell you what I do. And then the last one, I photographed a little late. You can see this leg again. It's a little bit back. The the hock is no longer well up underneath. You can see right here, it's not up underneath. That hock should be here. And this leg should be here. And the horse is a little behind the vertical, but not much. But like I said, this was probably a horsemanship one. It's been a while since I've taken that photo. Okay. All right. So the next ones, the head carriage on the first one is way too low. And for this horse, I'm not really too fond for this angle. I don't know why. I think it would do a little bit more better at a 3/4 angle, just because it's a bigger strided horse for a Western Pleasure. You can see there's quite a bit of difference. And sometimes the 3/4 angle, that's where you're getting up a little bit more in front of the horse. And it would make that stride look a little bit more closer together. All right. The second one, the lope shot. Again, I'm a little late. We lost the hock and we lost that vertical leg. Great headset, great expression. Other than that, though, that's all on me on this one. So, all right. This one, the English one, slightly late. The horse is getting a little fast. A lot of times when they have that straight of leg, they're going kind of fast. And that might be why she's kind of got a little bit more hold on him. And why there's contact in behind the vertical. I actually remember the shoot very well. So yes, I know that's exactly what happened. The hawk is no longer underneath the body. One thing too, when you're shooting from behind, sometimes it doesn't look as far, but this one definitely is not. We've lost it there. So that's kind of where we are there. So I hope y'all did well on that. All right. So a few more we're going to go through and I'm just going to talk about it. So this first one is taken a little late. I tend to take them a little bit more late than I take them too early. Front left is starting to move back. Head carriage is too low too. All right. Second one is beautiful. I definitely would show this one to the clients. So she's, it could be the face, but I can't tell if she has a little bit of a head tilt. And sometimes they will, kind of tilt their mouth in. But that's really the only thing. All right. So I'm a little late on this last one, and he could have a little bit more roundness to the top line. That's how he moves too. So, but still, look at that leg. No, this is a lot bigger here. But like I said, when you're shooting from behind, you're going to get that where that looks a lot further. Yeah. Good expression though. Good head carriage, good inset. All right. So kind of take yourself a little break here. Not break, but kind of a little bit. Which one would you show to your client? Which one we would keep? In other words, which one would be called out? Don't want to see that one anymore type thing. All right. I find a definite yes in any of these. But the first one is a definite no. Definitely too late. Head's way too low. All right, so this one here, the legs are okay. I like the legs better in this one. Not a whole lot better. I like the head here. I don't like the head here. So if I had to pick of these two, I'd probably go with the center one, and probably regret saying that later. So it's just one of those. I don't remember if there was even one I really went wow to me on this one. So, all right. So love to know how you did. On the Facebook group, please, brag if you have a great shot, ask questions. If you want to dispute any of my reasoning or anything like that, feel free to. Just no bashing of the Western Pleasure, please. So, but yeah, That's what that Facebook group for. I check it. I have notifications on. I don't always get the notifications. You know, Facebook is not that friendly, but I will check these often. If you want pictures, keep on going. This isn't over, by the way. I'm just interrupting right now. Keep on going. What I do want to kind of talk about a little bit that I kind of didn't mention in here of where I sit when I do photos. Kind of a big thing that I kind of left out of this presentation. And, you know, now that I'm doing it, I thought, oh, I should have really did a little bit more of that. So I shoot at 200 millimeters all the time. There's only a couple opportunities that I don't shoot at it. And it usually it's when it's just the head only. But I shoot at 200 millimeters, so I want to get as far back. Yes, if I know that this is going to be how the picture is, they're not putting in an ad and removing the background. We're going to find the best background. All right. I will shoot. I get a lot of work in. Just depends on what it is. I try to stay near the center of the arena, and far back. What I mean by center of the arena, like a lot of the arenas I work in don't even have, you know, fencing or anything around them. So I will stay kind of far back so I can get the full body in at 200 millimeters. All right. So if they're trotting, sometimes they want a 3/4 trot. So when they're going left to right, no, right, no, yeah, left to right, I am going to be more on the right side of the right side. So I can get them pretty much the full length of the arena. I start shooting them when they're about a third. I'm getting those 3/4 shots. And then when they come even with me, I will shoot them more profile on. Trot shots, as when they go past me, I stop shooting. All right. Then when I'm done, I will, when they're done with that pass, and a lot of times I only want to shoot one side of the horse, not, but sometimes they shoot both sides. So if I want to shoot the next side, I get up, I move over more to the left side of the arena. So when the horse goes left or right to left, I'm still getting that same thing. So I'm moving back and forth constantly. I'm not staying in the same spot. Now with the canter and the lope, I am doing just the opposite, because instead of trying to get a 3/4 in front, I'm trying to get a 3/4 from behind. So as the horse is going right to left, I'm on the right side. If the horse is going left to right, I'm on the right side or left side. I will make up some diagrams and add it to the Facebook group. And I'm really mad at myself for not talking about where I'm at on these to get the best angles and everything. And I do get down low. Not like on the ground low laying down, but I squat down. I do have a little stool sometimes if I'm going to be doing a whole bunch, because trust me, I've done like several of them at once, and I'm really sore the next day. I'm just too old. When I was 10 years ago, I could have done it all day long, but now I can't. Now I have a little folding stool, little portable folding tripod, cloth seat stool that I take with me, and it has saved my knees and everything. So, all right. So some other classes, the ranch classes, ranch trail, ranch riding, some of the cow work. We have regular trail. You can see here's ranch trail, and over here is like showing trail. I know they're both shows, but and then horsemanship, reining. We have cutting, Western riding, which is all about lead changes. And then there's quite a few more, but probably won't talk about a whole lot all of those. All right, so trail, for the showing trail, this one's doing a lope over. They're a little bit hard to get. You can kind of see we lose a little bit of stuff, but you know, if you can do a good lope, if you get a good lope over shot, grab it. My favorite, and I think what works best for pictures and everything, is the walkovers. You know, the head can go very, very low, or it can kind of stay, you know, a little bit like that. You can see the riders leaning forward and everything. And I do want them, you know, we can keep a flat one. You can have multiple ones, you know, like 3 in a row. I prefer them a little bit raised up because the horse, you know, we usually want a flat knee. Well, this, we want them to raise up. We do not want them to hit or tick or anything. They don't want to touch that. So we want to really show some lift, that the horse is lifting its leg up over. Which leg? It really, you know, I've learned some trainers prefer the far leg, some trainers prefer the closer leg. So it really, I hope y'all can't hear my dog snoring in the background, you know, through this mic, but it's rather loud. So it's really kind of, you know, the personal preference of some trainers and everything. That light is really bad. This is an old photo. So you can kind of see, you know, that knees up, and that's when you take the picture. And it happens fast. And watching it, that's just pretty much just kind of watching, you know, when that horse, for some reason, it feels like they walk over poles faster than they actually walk. So it's just something that you just have to take a little bit of practice in what you watch. I watch both legs, front legs, because you never know which one's going to go over the pole. You can take it at this angle, you can take it at the side. What's really, really cool is to take it dead on front when you have, it wouldn't be as cool for this horse right here. His head's not low, but these horses that go low, take a dead on front and just get the horse's head and everything. So you can be a little artistic with trail, do different things you want, and everything. So it's just, but that's my preference, is walkovers. The trots can be a little rough. And my next one would be, I should pull another lope over one. Some lope over ones, especially the lope over curves. Love those. But some, you know, it may take a few tries. The horse may stretch. Some real good horses, you can get it right on the bat. All right. So this is range classes. So there's a lot of different ones. And if you go, let's see if this works. Yeah, if you go, it's Ranch Classes Explained, AQHA site. I highly recommend you go to that link. I'll leave it on here so you can copy it down, take a picture of it with your phone. Whatever you do, I'm afraid if I click on it, we're going to just lose everything here. Zoom can be a little bit, I use Zoom to record these, and it can be a little fickle when I do something like that with PowerPoint. So yeah, so, you know, that's a great one to look at and explain them. I love this one because it was all outdoors, and that's where I think, you know, you go to a lot of ranch classes, they're in their indoor arena, and they've got some trail classes set up. Actually, I don't do events anymore, but this young lady on this light color horse was telling me about it, and she's one of my models, and she said, "Why don't you come out and shoot?" And I shot maybe 9 people, just to get some images to do this and everything, and it was really kind of fun to sit and watch it. I don't know if this is actually allowed in ranch. I know they allow a little bit more in ranch classes. I think like this horse's legs are wrapped. Being this was, you know, not like a quarter horse show. It was more of a local show, ranch class show. I'm not really sure on that. So that's something, you know, you'd have to do your rule books. Because I don't shoot events anymore, ranch classes. When I was shooting events, they weren't as, they were just starting to start out. So I really didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to photograph them, but they sure are fun to watch and everything. And so I'm not really sure. I'm not as familiar with them and everything. Like here, you know, she's going over some logs at the trot, and those were big logs go over a trot. She made it nice and smooth. Okay, so here you can see once again, the trot's off. Sometimes where they're in tall grass like that, they do raise their knee up a little bit, so it really isn't too off. This one, yeah, that's a beautiful trot. They do not sit. You can see neither of them are sitting in the saddle, they're up. I know some of them sit up like that, some of them post. So I think it's a personal preference, and I don't think there's really a rule. All right, this one could do some dressage moves here, don't you think? So, you know, she ended up buying that photo, so I guess she liked it. So I guess it's not wrong, and that's kind of how I determine on sometimes if I'm not really sure about something. If somebody buys it, they're not like, okay, she liked it. And I kind of, like I said, it looks a little, it's got that extended trot going. But yeah, just a little bit interesting timing on it. And it was a super extended trot, so that was kind of fun. It's dragging. People love the dragging photos, I've discovered. So those were fun to do. I really couldn't get in a good spot, but that was the best. Okay, so a little bit more with the movements on the ranch classes. We do have the jog again and the lope. So it's very, very similar. It's a little bit more relaxed. In Western pleasure classes, a Boswell is used on 4 and under, 3 and under. I don't remember. I used to know these rules really well. This is a 17, I think, 18-year-old horse, maybe even older than that. I can't remember. And I thought it was cool that she could use a Boswell on it with no problem. And that was the softest Boswell. The with the Mackay reins. Oh my gosh, they were so soft. But okay, sidetracked here. But you kind of can see we have that W a little bit. He was a little bit off. You can see that it's a little bit different. He had a very interesting gait. I, in fact, actually asked her if he was gaited in some form fashion. He might be a little sore too sometimes, or stepped on something, but we do have a little bit of inconsistency, asymmetrical gait is what we would want to call it, where this leg right here, these two legs are much further apart than these two legs. Lope is great. Getting really up underneath that hock. Love that set to that pastern here. So yeah. And I think we were kind of a little bit in a turn. That's why she kind of looks like she's coming towards us. All right. So something I didn't go over in Western pleasure when I was talking about the Western pleasure was the walk, because it's really not a super popular gait. Maybe in the lunge line they might want to do it, and then sometimes I do what I call the fake lope. But it really, it's a 4-beat. We're talking about 4 beats, and that's when we talk about the loping looking 4 beating. Yes, if you see and I think I tend to do it more with foals than anything, because when they run, they don't lope a lot of times, or they're running and bucking and everything. You can't say lope down, but they're gonna walk somewhere, and I might grab it there, and it's kind of the same thing. So anyways, there's several different ways you can do, and I don't really think there's a proper way to do the walk. I've seen a lot of them do whatever they want. This is what I'm kind of liking, the second one over here, the most. But you can see it, all 4 feet are doing something different. So the leg is a little bit up high or whatever. This one, but I like the expression. I like the way the horse is looking. This one I'm a little late. See, once again, I love straight up and down legs. If you can't tell by now, is when I like them. This one is probably the same as this one. It's just a little bit different angle. And the horse is kind of turned to look at me, so we have the leg at a different time. This one, I don't know what I did because it almost looks like a bad trot shot, but it's a walk. But it's it's all about the timing of when you get it and what you want at different points of the gait. So this is one point, you know, you can get away probably with any of these, but this one I wouldn't do because, like I said, it's going to end up looking like a bad jog shot. So yeah. All right. So here's the trot or the jog. I'm going to keep on doing that. And I have one good one out of here. And it's the second one. The first one, no, just no. If I was shooting, this is where we don't want that leg straight up and down. If I was shooting some more gated ones or something like that, that's fine with the trot and some other breeds, but not the stock horse breeds. Don't. They want that W, the leg straight out. We don't want it too late, then the legs look a little wobbly. This one's okay, but it's still, we have this bend to this knee. We don't want that. It's not quite that W going. This one, I like this one. Right. Lope again, three beats. I am too early, too late, too early. You can see the legs up. This one's worse than the other one. Not a bad spread and everything. This is what I'm going for. Maybe a little bit more straight, but see how far behind I am too. This guy does get his leg up a little bit more. You gotta consider sometimes horses' age too and what they are capable of doing. At this point, you see how the hock is more further up underneath, where this one we're starting to lose. I know it's from the behind, but it's definitely starting to lose. So, you know, you got to keep that in consideration. So if I was to get this one, you know, for the stock horse breeds, it might be okay. This one might be okay. But they kind of want the same thing as the Western Pleasure. What I have seen a little bit of all of it, except for that one. But it's kind of, as long as you're having good forward movement, and we're going to talk about more forward movement when we get to the working. So, all right. So then there's trail classes again. So once again, we have the poles. See how we have 3 poles here. And I think I got my slides mixed up. And then we have the bridge. Same thing with the bridge. And we had a pole before the bridge. This hind leg is up. So I should have waited. Well, he's on there. Want that knee up, stepping up. And it looks better sometimes when we get this foot down here. I think maybe I wasn't shooting because we did have this pole right here that they have to step on before they go in there. So, you know, if you're shooting a class and not just shooting an individual for their advertisement or anything like that, you know, it's really good to find, you know, the best spot. And the bridge is really popular. The gate is okay. Lope overs that especially, you know, are in kind of a turn. I really like those. Any walkover that's a raised walkover is going to be really nice. The bridge is always really nice. And you know, also think of you know, they do put a lot of flowers and stuff around. So if you're shooting and you can't see the horse's leg because of the flowers, it may not be the one to do. You know, everybody has their own personal preference. I actually prefer, if I can, if you're shooting in an arena, this one was not that case. If you're shooting in an arena for trail and you can get, like, it's an indoor arena and you get up in the stands a little bit and shoot a little bit down where you can see over the everything, then that's really good. Every once in a while I will have somebody I will shoot trail for, you know, for an ad, and they do take a flower box, but we make sure the flower box is not blocking the horse, you know, maybe one back here and everything. So different things like this. And like this was red poles, and we changed it to kind of match her outfit a little bit more. So, but that's all they had out there. Okay. That was just one little Photoshop trick for you. So horsemanship showed this person a lot more. That's another horseman. Maybe she was doing pleasure because this is a different outfit. This is also a popular outfit. So horsemanship, they're really not judging the horse as much as they're judging the rider's position, but how the horse moves reflects on the rider's position. That's a little exaggerated. I would probably was shooting not at 200 at this one. That looks a little freaky if you ask me. So make sure you're shooting at 200 when you're doing this as they're coming towards you, a 3/4, and they're on the opposite lead from you. It's a very powerful look if you get it right, and I love it. This is not the look I really would want to go for just because it looks a little odd. It might be too much of an angle. Maybe if I came over here just a little bit more, that would really work. Her hand is also off to the side a little. It might be just because the horse is turning. All right. So horsemanship, like I said, it's usually you're going to have the trainer there. We're not trainers. So always remember that we're not trainers. And if the trainer is there or they're doing horsemanship, I actually will go show them something. You know, if I look down, if I notice something, I say, does this look, I don't say she needs to fix something because sometimes they may not see something. I will show them the frame. I said, does this look okay? And they notice that they might have been watching one thing and did the other. And a lot of times they pick it up. Most of the time they pick it up before I show them. But I never try to tell them how the horse is doing, you know, or the rider is doing something that they shouldn't or something like that. Because they might be preoccupied, they might be on the phone for that one shot or something like that. But we are not trainers, so we're not expected to tell them what they should be doing. So let the trainer tell them what to do. Unless they ask you, if the trainer's not around and the rider goes, hey, is my hands in the right spot or something like that, then go ahead. All right. So, a little behind the vertical, okay for horsemanship because it's not super bad and we don't have like, you know, she still has a light contact on there. There's a drape in the lane. We do have a little bit more shorter reins in horsemanship too. We have a good spread here. Hocks up underneath, knees out there. Her position looks good. Her position looks good in all these actually. So this one's good. This probably was the extended trot or extended jog. God, I'm gonna keep on saying that. So, you know, there's different things. Kind of like I say, you go back to your basis of Western pleasure on looking for the horse's movement. We might be a little bit more rounded through the body in horsemanship than Western pleasure. All right, so let's see, equitation. That's what we're looking for when they're coming forward at you. Big, powerful, but doesn't look exaggerated. Good expression on the horse. You know, the rider has contact and everything. May not be super perfect with the leg fall. I might be just a tad early, just a tad. Just because see how this leg happens a little bit. And then sometimes, you know, that's how we're going to go. How it's going to be. And this one might be a tad late. It's hard to, but from this angle, it's okay. You can't really tell. But see how there's a little bit more roundness. You saw this horse earlier in the hunter under saddle classes, or what? And he's a little more rounded now in these. So yeah. Something you can, you know, remind your rider if they come out and they don't have gloves on, and that happens a lot during photos because they don't think about it because it's not a show. Remind them to have gloves on. So, all right. So, reining. I don't get to shoot a lot of reining, unfortunately. This is not my photo. I didn't have a really, because I don't get to shoot it. And the pictures that I do have, I did not keep any really ones I don't really want. Um, so this is a no, right? I think you guys are obvious. I can't believe this. I got this off Adobe Stock, and I don't know if any of y'all do Adobe Stock, but it just, I mean, it's crooked and all that, and I was just kind of like, oh my God, stuff rejected. That didn't do that. I hope that's nobody that's watching this class's photo. Um, but for one thing too, right here, she's got two hands on the reins. Okay, that's a disqualification, not a disqualification. It's a zero score. Um, so yeah, we don't see how this horse has. You want to grab it as they go when they're stopping. They kind of get deeper and deeper. A really good one, and they paddle with those front legs and kind of bring them forward. All right, this one is not paddling with the front legs. It's kind of just stopping. Okay, it's got his legs up underneath him. Um, he was upset because the track was too wet and he wasn't throwing up enough dirt. So I loved that. I'm going, oh, it's plenty of dirt, but he wasn't happy with the amount of dirt that this horse was doing. And so here we kind of, can see um, the horse's leg is up on here. Here I have a little bit more straighter out. So we kind of don't really want to do that like that as much. He wanted me to lay down on the ground and I couldn't that day. Um, I had back issues and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. And he was like, okay, that's no problem. He was very nice. Um, but yeah, that was a fun shoot because like I said, I don't get a chance to do reining very often. But yeah, this is what the kind of what you want. You want one leg kind of forward, one leg there. It doesn't matter which one, but they do want that showing of that paddling look. So, all right. Another really popular one is the spins. Um, so you can get the crossover. You can get as it's starting to cross over from the angle, from the side, um, from different things. That's just really popular, what they really like. Um, we want these hocks up underneath them and just showing a lot of power and a lot of, a lot of movement just by the reins going everywhere, the tail up. And it's really cool to see a really good reining horses. Um, so cutting. It has been years since the last time I've done any cutting events. Um, they're just not for me. Mainly because they're very long days. Um, so the best tip I ever got was not from a photographer, but was from, I guess, just did cutting a lot. Told me to watch the cow to know where the horse is fixing to go because, and I was like, oh, okay. But it's kind of hard to do when you're focused on the cow or focusing on the horse because that's, because there is that distance and we're probably shooting a little bit more darker arenas, even though you have strobe lights. Um, you want to get that depth of field, but your horse really isn't going to be in focus. And so it kind of goes for that. They love the horse looking at the cow. All right. Here we're looking at the cow. That cow's moving that way. That horse is moving that way. This cow's moving that way. The horse is starting to move that way. Okay, this is a no. Because the cow's already gone. The horse missed the cow. The head's up. It's not looking at the cow. It might be side-eyeing it, but it's not looking at the cow like it is in these photos. So as that cow is leaving, you basically miss, by the time the horse gets around, that cow's going to be way over there. It's kind of lost the cow. All right. So like here, love that one. Horse is really down low, looking at the cow. Both of them are low here. I love that one too. And so, you can kind of see this cow is leaving that way. So is the horse. So that's kind of how to help you get the cattle ones. but like I said, I'm not the expert on it. I never did any really big cattle events. Um, but they were fun. And God forbid they're all black cows and it just kind of blends all together in the background. But all right, this one is a no. Okay, this is a roper. He owns this arena. This was his first time to ever try cutting. It was very fun to listen to the person helping him and everything, but it was really fun. But he did lose the cow. Horse is facing that way. The cow is obviously going that way. We don't want legs straight out like that because it just kind of shows movement. But the head's a little high and everything. We've just lost contact, so that kind of gives you an idea of what you want, what you don't want. Right. All right. So we're going to go on now. We're done. I'm done covering any of the show events, and I know there's plenty others that I probably missed, and there might be a few mixed in here accidentally. So when the stock horse works, most of them are going to be ranch horses, and that's what a lot of them do. So some of the things they use them for is they herd the cattle, they move them from one pasture to the other, they gather them up for veterinary care or branding and sort them. They might have to rope off of them and everything. They use them to check the fence lines, and might carry some tools out to maintain the fence lines and everything. Kind of the same thing. They transport the ranch workers. They transport them to various parts of the property that they don't have maybe access to, just to check on things. A lot of times, yeah, you can herd a cattle maybe with a four-wheeler, but then again, you probably can't because they're just not quick enough to turn and go over and everything. So that's kind of what we do. All right. So what I like about doing the work is you kind of can break some rules. We don't have to do the breed standard. There's you can get a little bit more artistic and everything. So yeah, it's something, it's just fun to do. Get forward movement and you'll be good in your photos, and we'll cover more forward movement, what I'm talking about with forward movement. So you might be shooting something you set up, a workshop or retreat, or an actual working branch activity, branding, sorting, gathering. I've done quite a few of those, and they're actually really fun. So, all right. So, this is going to be a little bit off topic. So if you're working like at a branding, okay, remember they're doing a job. And like I said, this is not to deal with like a retreat or a workshop or anything, because they know that we're there for the photos more than anything. When you're working, you can't work in a work or photographing an actual work job. You can't ask them to do something again, just like, you can't go, hey, I missed the wedding kiss. Could you please do that again? You can't do that. They're doing a job. You can't really ask them to pose because, like I said, they're doing a job and they have to be focused or it gets dangerous. You can't pick the direction of the light. You got to shoot with what you got because you may not be able to stand in a certain spot that the light's better. It's a lifestyle shoot. Branding is fast, busy, and can get dangerous. So what they do is they gather the cattle up, the mamas and the babies. They sort is what they call it. They sort the mamas from the babies. All right. And they may doctor all the moms. Not always. If they have a shoot, some of them have a shoot, they're going to doctor the moms. Then the calves, they're going to brand each calf. So they have what they have the ropers. There might be more than one. And you never know where they're going to be. They're going to rope them. They rope the hind legs, a nice little technique, and then they drag them. It looks a little bit violent, but it doesn't hurt them. And you're going to hear a lot of baying from the mamas and the babies and hollering. They grow up fine and everything. So they're going to brand them, give them any vaccinations. Some of their vaccinations are in the nostril, some of them are actual shots, usually in the armpit area because cattle have very thick hides. If any of them need castrating, they would do that. If they see anything that needs doctoring, they will do that. Some of them get a wormer, some of them get like a skin warmer type thing. So there could be 6 or 7 people right there. You know, there's the roper holding, and they get the rope off for him. They hand it back after he drags them. There's 2 holders. One holds the front end, one holds the hind legs. While the other ones do the work. So there's all these people coming in. There's knives or scalpels for the castration and everything. So you've got to be careful of where you're doing. These ropers, when they rope, they're not watching in front of them very much. If you're there, you're going to get hits. So do really, really watch carefully. They're not going to hit you on purpose. They just don't see you. When they're gathering and sorting, do not be in a spot that can spook the cattle. They use fence line a lot to gather, and they're going to use a fence line to get them to where they're going. And if you're in front and these cattle see you, they're going to stop and they're going to split up, and they're going to get mad at you because you just ruined their gathering. And then sorting, some of the mamas get a little bit mad, but a lot of times, especially the gathering, one cowboy will tell you, "Oh, you're fine over there," and another one's going to tell you, "You can't be there." So, you know, kind of just take it as grain of salt. And sometimes I have found the best place to be is in a truck. So, because cattle are not scared of trucks, but they scared of a person standing out there in a field. So yeah, so you don't want to be like in front of them or anything like that. Let's see what else. So these are kind of some fun things you can do. The top 3 are the gathering. Yes, little kids will go out there. That's one of the things that they learn when they're young. And they gather them up. You can see most of them are on one side, and they kind of get them along the side. I just kind of hiked and kind of hid in the ditch until they were ready. Once they passed me a little bit and I knew they were under control, I got out there and start taking pictures. This one right here with the guy on the horse, I was actually horseback. I was not prepared that I was going to be horseback that day. I don't ride that much anymore. I had my 70 to 200 lens with me, and I'm holding it, and we long trotted everywhere we went. So I had a bruise on the side from my camera bouncing. Even though I was holding it, it was bouncing on me. I wish I had one of those chest carrier thingies or something that day. Wasn't ready for that. But yeah, you can see I'm usually always behind the cattle. This one right here, that was near the end of them gathering and getting them all into the pen. This one was just kind of a fun thing. They're trying to find the cows. They have to go through this gate, tumbleweeds everywhere, and they could not open or close the gate because of all the tumbleweeds. So they used a horse, and that just kind of was a fun picture. This one, yes, I'm in front of the horses. I'm in front of the cattle. They're using the fence on this side over here to get them up in here. I'm in a truck. You can actually see the hood of the truck right here on the passenger side, and the door's open, and I'm kind of just shooting there, and I was fine. So it's, you know, find your places to go. When I was on the outside of the pen, that's probably the fence, one of the fences right there. So this is kind of when they're roping the gathers. This one right here, kind of a cool shot, but we do not have forward motion in this. You're going to learn this a little bit here. That horse's legs are coming back. You can't really see the calf that he's dragging. Or no, he may not be dragging. I don't know what he's doing on these. Because he does have his rope, unless that's a spare rope. and I don't see a rope going anywhere. I don't know where he's going, but it was a cool shot. But I just kind of wanted to show you this one. No forward motion. We're starting to get it, and then we have some cool forward motion. But then we also have more people in here. All right, here's where she's roping. So she ropes down. You can see the rope here, and they get it very loosely, and pretty much the calf kind of steps into it. And then they slowly pull it up. And yes, they do that all the time. This was quite a hand for a cowgirl here. And she got the calf, and then she was on her way to drag it to the next thing. Okay, why is this not going? All right. Okay. We have a little lockup. Okay, hold on, make sure I didn't miss a few things. Okay, that's where I was. Okay, so it just wants to lock up on this one, doesn't it? I apologize. Okay, here we go. So we can get a little artistic here too. That's what I love about it. This is the same, this one and this one are the same ones where I was horseback. So I do get, horseback, you do get a perspective. And that was an actual gathering and I got to do. This one right here was a branding. And that's, this guy dragged the calf. And so far only one person is there. In a second, there's going to be a gazillion, I swear. This is when they actually do the brand, and the brand is pretty cool. No, it's going to smell, and everything. And then a lot of the rest of them are taken at a retreat where I got to, where they set up photos and everything. So it's kind of fun. All right. So I want to talk about forward movement. So when a horse is moving forward, they should be moving freely and without resistance, with a rhythmical and even pace. They should be moving with impulsion, which means they are propelling themselves forward from the hindquarters. Okay. So a horse still needs to bring its legs back to make the next stride. That is the photo you do not want to take. Okay. I highly suggest learning to get your timing right. It's much easier to cull through 500 pictures than 2,000 when you use that high-speed drive. Plus your camera's you're gonna have to replace that shutter much faster. All right. So we can see we have some forward movement. All the legs are forward. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Right here, all the legs are back. One of the most awkward looking things you can do with a photo. The horse just looks awkward. This one, the horse looks swift, powerful. And the horse here, no, not so much. All right. So here's just a little video. And this is high-speed shutter, like I said, not to take, but I knew I would have a reason to use this for some reason. I mainly did it for a reel. So, but it ended up coming in good, came up good for this. So you can see the strides. Let's see if it actually goes. Try it one more time. I don't know why this slide thing is not working for me today. I might have to, let's go to this version of it here. And thing here, because it won't let me hit it. Okay. All right. See, it's not working for me today. Oh, there it goes. Cannot play media. I don't know that why. I will post this on the Facebook page and you can kind of see it and do your own little choice about what is good and what is not good. So let me go back to the full screen. Okay. Play it now. I'm gonna try it just one last time. Nope, can't play media. Boy, I did it 15 times when I was going through this. Okay, so here we go. For fast moving subjects, I like to get my timing. I like to watch the hind legs. And when they start to come forward, I shoot. It also depends on how fast the horse is moving. And knowing your shutter lag is really important. If you know what shutter lag is, it's when you hit the button versus the time the shutter actually clicks. So some cameras have a little bit slower shutter lag than others. Super fast movement, like say horse racing, or just full on gallop. I will use the high speed shutter drive because I'm sorry, nobody has that fast of eye. Well, maybe they do, but I don't. Okay, once again, I'm going to use that front leg as a guide for which one, when I'm culling through, going which ones I do want. And the headset, we don't really want it behind the vertical too. Or nothing about headset. Okay, so this is kind of like, we don't want this behind the vertical. Like we don't want the headset. So like this one, no. Okay. So what do you think we have on these? We have a no and a yes. And I didn't check this one right here because see how that leg is down? It's almost a little bit behind the vertical, but you know what? All four are off the ground. That's pretty cool. We're going to keep it, okay? All right. All right. So there are some other stock horse classes and working classes that I really didn't get into. Once again, you can kind of use the basics to do a lot of this. Working cow might be the only one, might be a little bit different. It's kind of like cutting, you know, we don't want the horse to get a different place in front of the front of the cow or anything like that. And they, you know, they do the boxing, and then they do the run up and down the wall, and then they do the circles and everything. Rodeo, you know, a lot of different events in there. Totally, you know, the roping is a little bit different and everything. And I'm not qualified to do that. There is a workshop, I think somebody is advertising on EPN, not too far from me. I'm actually considering about going to it. Because it's like 30 minutes for me. Team petting and sorting. There's horse racing. You can use a high-speed shutter on horse racing. So mounted shooting. I've never gotten the opportunity to do that, and I would love to. I know what they want is when they shoot and you get the flash or whatever from the gun or the popping of the balloon, they do use blanks, I think, and blanks still shoot something out. So that's what it's doing. Don't quote me. I'm not sure about that. So there's, you know, a lot of different events. And when I say racing, you know, that's quarter horse racing, I guess, would be stock horse. It's kind of the same if you ever did thoroughbred racing. It's pretty much just saying, actually, my daughter, who does a lot of racing, said that the quarter horse racing, probably because it's so fast, was harder to do than the thoroughbred racing because they all come across the finish line so much more bunched up. So, I really want, you know, a lot of questions, and I'd love to see some images for critique on the Facebook group. Everybody can benefit from them. You can now post as a group member and not your name on Facebook groups if you didn't know that. So if you want to put it and you want critique on it, you know, say, hey, I want critique on this. What did I do? Blah, blah, blah. And we can do that. Or you can, you know, put your name on there and brag about what you did. I'm only to critique something if you ask. And everybody else is welcome to critique it too. But please, if they don't ask for critique, don't critique it. Okay. So I can't wait to see everybody's images and everything. I do have a lot more classes, not just with EPN. I have more getting started type things. So if you're doing this, you probably don't need the starting your own business or the basic Lightroom and different things like that. I have a few of those classes on there. But yeah, I can't wait to start seeing everybody's post in the group and everything. So we will talk about that soon. And Y'all have a great day for the rest of the day. I don't know what time of day you're watching this.